Francisco's Chinatown, the place where Bruce Lee was born. He wasn't raised here, but when he returned here as an adult, his time here and in Oakland changed his philosophy and his approach to teaching and training martial arts forever. All right, so right behind us is the Chinese hospital. This is where Bruce Lee was born back in the day. Claire here has some interesting kind of background about this, like how like its name and everything. What's up, Claire?
Let's talk about the name first. As a native Chinese or as a native English speaker, you may say the Chinese hospital sounds a little strange, but I like its Chinese name, Donghua Yiyuan, which sounds very fancy to me. And I think Bruce Lee's parents didn't choose this hospital randomly. They were here as tourists for the opera, and at that time, other hospitals in this area weren't very accessible to Chinese. That's why Bruce Lee was born in Chinese hospital, only for Chinese at that time.
They were only here for a short time before they moved back to Hong Kong. So he was just a baby and then went back. And so later on in his life, because being born in the United States means you're an American citizen, so that might have played a role into his return later in life. So we can talk about that later. Behind me is the Sun Sing Center. In late summer, early autumn 1964, it was called the Sun Sing Theater. I'll kind of pan a little bit so you can see. So Bruce Lee accompanied Diane Chung, a starlet from Hong Kong, on a West Coast tour to promote her movie. They were here at this cultural center, and at that night, Bruce Lee also did a kung fu demonstration. Some stories go that he did the 1-inch punch on someone in the audience and they didn't move. And then later he kind of sucker punched them, and then when they fell down, then he tried to say that it was his 1-inch punch power, but the audience didn't think that. They just thought he sucker punched a guy. So one thing led to another. Bruce Lee ended up like lecturing the crowd on kung fu, and some people say he issued a challenge. So if anyone thought that they could beat him, that he was open to a challenge. Other people say that he just did a demonstration and then said, oh, you can come train at our studio in Oakland. So, you know, always up to interpretation. We don't have video of what happened at that time in 1964. But something happened, because a few weeks later, there was a challenge match in Oakland. So we'll take you there next. At the corner of Garnett and Broadway, this was the site of Bruce Lee's martial arts school here in Oakland, California. This is where the infamous challenge match between Wang Jackman and Bruce Lee took place. So you get conflicting reports. Well, first things first, date. So there's no exact date except for the year and kind of later in the year, 1964. As you can see, there's no building here. So if you can see behind me, right, there's no real building here. Toyota pretty much owns this lot now. You can see it's actually still in use, still in operation. They're doing all their services and stuff too. So it doesn't exist, but at least they commemorated the location with the commemorative placard up there, Bruce Lee Way. Okay, so back to the match. So you get conflicting reports of that as well. You have associates of Wang saying that this was a 20-minute plus match, and some people were saying, oh, Bruce was a little too aggressive or whatever, but then you'll have associates of Bruce Lee saying that it was a shorter match, including his wife saying that it was maybe a 3-minute match. Either way, the result was ultimately life-changing for Bruce Lee. He felt that whether it was a short match or a long match, it still took him too long to finish the match. So what he did was basically go back to the drawing board and then think of what were the most effective ways for him to change his style to make it more efficient and more effective. And then that's when we get the birth of his new philosophy, Jeet Kune Do.